Hi everyone, this is JamshedQureshi here, and in this video we will understand what are structural directives in Angular. So in simple terms, structural directives helps us to add and remove UI elements from our application. Let's refer to the documentation to understand it better. As per the documentation, structural directives are directives which change the DOM layout by adding and removing DOM elements. That simply refers to adding and removing the UI elements from our application. And Angular provides a set of built-in structural directives such as ngIf, ngFor, ngSwitch and others, which are commonly used in all Angular application. So Angular provides us with a set of built-in structural directives which we can use in our UI, and those structural directives based on some condition will add and remove our UI elements. Let's read further. When structural directives are applied, they generally are prefixed by an asterisk such as *ngIf. This convention is shorthand that Angular interprets and converts into a longer form. Angular transforms the asterisk in front of the structural directive into an ng template that surrounds the host element and its descendant. Basically, when we write a structural directive, we have to prefix it with an asterisk so as to tell the Angular that this is a structural directive. And what Angular does is, when compiling the code, it will change the asterisk sign into an HTML code. That means it would change the asterisk sign and wrap the ngIf in an ng template. So let's see the example over here. We have a div over here, and here we have the ngIf structural directive prefixed with an asterisk. And what is the value of ngIf? Basically, ngIf checks the truthy value of the variable or the condition we are providing. So here we are providing the variable hero, and it will check if the hero variable is available in the component or not. So if it is available, then it will be truthy, and then only this div will be rendered on the UI. Because as we can see in this div, we are accessing the name property of this hero object. So only if the hero object is available, then only we would be able to access the name property of it. So this div would be rendered only if the hero object is available, otherwise not. And after we write this code, what Angular will do, as it says here, Angular creates an ng template element and applies the ngIf directive onto it, where it becomes the property binding in square brackets. The rest of the div includes its class attribute is then moved into the ng template. Basically, our asterisk is converted into an ng template, and our ngIf text is moved into a square bracket like this, and then our div is wrapped in this ng template, and rest of the code remains the same within this ng template. But when we inspect the browser, we won't be able to see this ng template in our browser, because as it says here, note that Angular does not actually create a real ng template element, but instead only renders the div. So when Angular compiles this code and we inspect our browser element, we would be able to see the div only, but Angular would add an ngContent tag to it along with a dynamically created ID. I know this would be a bit difficult to understand as of now, but when we look at an example in our later video, I hope you will get a better understanding of it. Let's have a quick look at one of the other built-in structural directives provided by Angular, that is ngFor. So basically, ngFor has a different functionality than ngIf. So most of the structural directives have different functionalities and capabilities with them. ngFor is generally used to loop over an object or an array and render its elements over a repetitive UI code. Say for example, we want to create a list and we want to show 10 rows of data. So it would not be feasible to write 10 lines of UI code. Instead, we can loop over our array, and we can reuse the same code just by looping over the array elements and re-rendering the UI element with the dynamic data. As we can see over here, this code and the code below that will provide us with the same output. The only difference is that we write this code in our UI and Angular converts that into this ng template. So if we write this or this, it would be giving us the same output. We would be referring to each of the built-in structural directives in a separate videos in future. So in case of any interview, if someone asks you what are structural directives in Angular or which are the built-in structural directives in Angular, You can mention that structural directives are used to manipulate the DOM by adding or removing the UI elements, and ngIf, ngFor and ngSwitch are some of the built-in structural directives. So that's it for this video. If you like the video, then please like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.